the same series where we have already discussed nature of management as a science as well as an art, where I have described you that management is not a pure science, whereas it is a form of art. And if we club both of them together, we come to a conclusion that management is a social science, or it is a scientific art, or it is artistic science. Comparing management in the third important domain, that is profession. This is one of the star point as per our syllabus, because this point carries greater amount of confusion for students, because to see management as a profession, we have to look into two different approach. The very first approach is comparing management as profession by just making comparison of the basic feature of profession with that of management. But if we see the same management in present scenario, that is in 21st century, then the whole answers gets converted into all that these no's gets converted into yes, which means there is at times students come up with students comes up to the teachers with a lot of questions that whether management is a profession or not. So today in this lecture I'll try to make this doubt very visible, very clear to all of you. Let us start. As we can see that profession itself has 5 major features, like number 1, profession is a well-defined body of knowledge. When we say something is well-defined, which simply means it has a set of instructions to be followed. In profession, every professional needs to get trained through a set of another professionals, so that a series of instructions should come to them and they should work accordingly to make it a profession. Come to the next, that is restricted entry. As we already know, to become any of the professional or professionalist, what is very important? To follow the path of its domain. You cannot change the main domain. Like if you wanted to become a doctor and want to do MBBS, so for that in class 12th or in class 11th, right after class 10th, what are you supposed to opt for? You're supposed to opt for biology. Only then you can excel your career as medical practitioner. If you wanted to be an engineer, so for sure you need to drop biology and then you have to move with mathematics as a main domain. So what it is, if I talk about these two professions, being medical, getting into medical, or getting into engineering, so these two professions need to follow, anybody who wish to get into these professions needs to follow the domain very strictly. It makes entry in the particular domain restricted. If you switch your domain and then you wish to get into any of the field, it's just not possible. Next is professional association. Yes, like if you wanted to become chartered accountant, so in India the group or the council of CAs are monitored by ICAI. So you need to get yourself associated to ICAI to pursue the career in chartered accountancy. Talking about the next, that is ethical code of conduct. As we know that ethics is all about value judgment. What is or what ought to be. So yes, there is always a value judgmental code of conduct which is to be followed by the professionals. And profession has a singular objective to serve the society. They charge for, they earn profit just because the kind of services they are offering to the community. If we compare all these features of profession to management one by one, let us see what becomes the outcome. Number 1, as we say, well-defined body of knowledge, which means following a set of instructions. So yes, under management also we follow set of instructions to move on further. Like in the next chapter, we are going to discuss about the principles of management. So yes, it is a systematized body of knowledge where we study different instructions, different set of rules and regulations to become a manager. So we can say yes, this one feature of profession, that is well-defined body of knowledge, is very much available in management. Moving on to the next, that is restricted entry. Yes. Now if we talk about management, anyone to opt for, you may have an idea that ma'am, yes, if we do an MBA, if we have a degree of MBA, yes, we can become a manager. Yes, very, very significantly identified. But for getting admission in MBA, if you see, there is no restricted entry. If from students from any particular domain, and the best combination is BTech and MBA to have to get a lucrative packages. So if you see like restricted entry, yes, this is not a feature of profession. The entry in management is very, very open from all the domain. It is not domain restricted as profession. So you can say that this particular point denies management to be proven as a profession. Next is professional association. Yes, if we see management traditionally, so definitely there is no specific professional association like XII available, so that you can get a part of or be a member of that particular association to verify yourself as a professional. Next, ethical code of conduct. Yes, for managers, here there is no specified bylaw. For manager, when we talk about manager is a kind of employee, and then the employer is abided or guided by the employer's bylaw. There is a bylaw which abides the employer and the employee relationship. There is nothing called a ethical code of conduct printed bylaw available for managers. So yes, if talking about ethical bylaws, there's also a big no, which management does not qualify this feature of also becoming profession. Service motive. Yes, just now I have talked about this point that there's an employer-employee relationship. So a manager, if we see traditionally, so traditionally management was required in all the major fields where the managers are acting as a employee. Therefore, the idea is to earn only and only profit, and then service becomes a secondary motive, right? So there's again a big no, that service motive does not exist in management to qualify to be profession. So if we just see the traditional approach of whether management is a profession, so the answer is no. Management does not qualify most of the features to become profession. So we can say that management is not a profession. Now, talking about this area, that what is the situation in 21st century? What is now? Nowadays, in 21st century, when there is great number of industries coming up, there's great migration, a good number of MNCs are also working. So we can see that there's a tremendous demand. People are understanding that without management, because if you remember, I have taught in one of my lecture that management is a study of human behavior. So human resources has been treated as asset. So no organization wants to lose on this particular and important and significant asset. So what is happening these days? These days management has been considered as a profession because human resource becomes one of the most important resource which needs to be preserved by any of the organization. So to preserve, to handle this particular asset, every organization requires a professionally trained, well-trained managers. So if we see that in 21st century, what is the role of management? So you can say yes, as we already know, there is a set of instructions to be followed. So in 21st century also, management qualifies to become profession. Talking about the next feature, that is restricted entry. Yes, management is having a restricted entry. Why? Because these days, if you are not, all the managers are supposed to be the member of AIMA. What is AIMA? All India Managers Association. Yes, I repeat, All India Managers Association. Although it is not a compulsory act, but still it is voluntary and is suggested activity for managers to their own, to prevent their own interests. Coming to the next, that is professional association. Yes, at present, to qualify the criteria of being manager, like you know that all your lawyers in India are being associated and certified through Bar Council of India. So Bar Council of India is offering the certificate to the different lawyers. Therefore, similarly, the managers these days also are getting ranked A+, A++ through the different management institutions. So the management institutions, after your internship, they club your degree and then they certify you in A+ or A++ rating. So that becomes your professional association to a kind of management practicing internship colleges. Coming to the next, that is ethical code of conduct. Yes, managers are also subject to follow the ethical code of conduct, the value judgment, the value statement driven by them, that the assigned work should be their priority, reducing costs, finding out the different ways, going beyond the boundaries and looking for the best of the company is what their job is, and they are paid for this particular skill. Next, service motive. Yes, you can see, if you have seen the objectives, the way we have discussed the objective of management, so you must have a very clear idea that any business, if only operate on a single motive of to earn profit, it is next to impossible for a business to survive. Therefore, there are many other objectives which any business organization has to have and must follow, and which is what makes management as a profession in 21st century. That not only to take care of your organizational objectives to earn profit, also at the same time the organization must take care of the community, the different stakeholders, the employees, those who are working all together. So it all becomes the prime responsibility of any of the working organization. Only then you are magnify yourself at the parameter of being successful company. So conclusively we can say, though management is not considered to be a full-fledged profession, whereas it is a growing profession. So your conclusive answer will be, management is not a full-fledged profession, whereas it is a growing profession. In 21st century, gradually people are accepting management as a profession, whereas traditionally before 21st century, or if since the origin of management, it is not being considered as a full-fledged profession. I hope I am able to make your understanding clear. I am all open to your kind of questions. At the end of this video, you will get the link. Write your doubts to me. Stay connected with me. Do like, share and subscribe my channel if you find it worth enough. Thank you.